Have you ever noticed how when you're truly focused, disciplined, and energized about your fitness journey, the right people, the right opportunities, and breakthroughs seem to just find you? That's not just a coincidence. That's actually the universal law of vibration at work, what some people call the law of attraction. Today, I'm going to show you how mastering your internal energy can completely transform your training, help you break through plateaus, and attract the right people who are going to help you get to the next level. The law of vibration says that everything in the universe is constantly moving. Everything's vibrating at different frequencies. This includes your thoughts, your emotions, and even your physical body. This means we're never stuck in one energy. Our energy is dynamic and we can always shift it. Fitness transformations don't start with a workout plan or a diet. They actually start internally with an energy shift, mentally and emotionally. When you start vibrating at a higher frequency, meaning that you're thinking more positively, feeling more committed, and believing in your growth, your outer world is eventually going to mirror that internal energy shift. When you're vibrating higher with excitement and gratitude, your training is going to shift for the better naturally. But when you're stuck in low vibration states like stress or doubt, injuries, burnout, and plateaus are inevitable. So one of the most important aspects of the law of vibration slash the law of attraction when it comes down to our training and when it comes down to just leveling up in general is the fact that we're going to attract the right type of people who are actually going to help us get to the next level. You always hear people talk about if you want to become a millionaire, you have to, go in a room full of millionaires, or you have to start hanging out with successful people. But the thing is that successful people and millionaires or whatever your goals are, people who are extremely fit are not going to want to hang out with somebody who's not vibrating on their same frequency. So in order to attract these people who are high level individuals, who are successful, or who are in places where you want to get to, you have to start vibrating on their frequency. And how do we get to that point? We have to be more disciplined. We have to be vibrating on the frequency of discipline, on growth, on self-improvement. These type of frequencies are automatically going to attract the right type of people and the best type of people around us. I'm a firm believer that things don't just happen on an accident. We literally attract who we are. So when I was living in Hawaii, for those of you guys who have been watching my channel for a while, you guys know I used to train with this guy named James, one of my best friends. James is an absolute beast, strongest person I know, probably the smartest person that I know. And I've actually heard of James before I even met him, probably like a year before, because we knew somebody in common. We had a mutual friend. I would see James here and there at different parks around Honolulu. And then I started going to the park every morning at 6 a.m. This was something that was new to me. I usually would just get my workouts in whenever, but then I started going to the park pretty much I would wake up at 5 a.m. every single morning without an alarm. And then the first thing I'd do is go to the park and go train. And I started seeing James at the park every single day. Didn't say anything to him for months. Used to see him, probably gave him a head nod or whatever out of respect. He was at the time working on straddle planche and working on a couple other movements. For the most part, I always saw him working on straddle planche. Time went on, and I eventually started a conversation with James. And then I was like, hey man, let's I see you doing your thing every day. Let's make a video together. And James was somebody who was a little bit more introverted and camera shy. But eventually we started making videos together, started kicking it all the time. And it just got addicting to just constantly be talking about growth and constantly be self-improving and constantly being in that positive mindset. And we almost got addicted to it. Was one of the best times in my life, to be honest with you. But to make a long story short, me and James were vibrating on the same frequency, and we just happened to be in the same place at the same time on a regular basis. But I don't think that's by happenstance. The universe brings you in alignment with the people that you're supposed to be in alignment with, depending on how you're vibrating. Because if I was vibrating on a degenerate mindset back then, I'd be out at night, I'd be clubbing, I'd be drinking, and I wouldn't be getting up at 5 a.m. naturally to go train at the park for 2-3 hours in the morning and running into somebody like James. It just doesn't align that way. But because I was on a certain type of frequency, and because James is on a certain type of frequency, we were on the same type of time, we ended up aligning, we ended up meeting, and we ended up starting a friendship. And in turn, that leveled up my calisthenics and just leveled up my mindset 1,000%. Being around somebody who was a high performer like James literally sparked so much into me. I was actually on a plateau that I didn't even know I was on, because I was pretty much just training for maintenance, which is not a bad thing when you're at a good level and you're happy with where you're at. But James brought a spark into me to want to grow and to be better. And from that spark, I ended up going to Brazil, ended up meeting some other people who were on the same frequency. One of my homeboys, Guilherme, uh, another cat down there named Victor, who was had a super high level. Just bunch of people I was meeting with. Then ended up in Argentina, met up with my homeboy Jose Pro Barras. He got a YouTube channel, big YouTube channel. But I started meeting all these people who are at a higher level than me in calisthenics, or who just at a higher level in certain areas of life. And I started soaking up their energy like a sponge. But the common denominator is that my mindset was super disciplined. My mindset was was super grateful. I was grateful of all these experiences, and my mindset was of work ethic and growth. And that's what attracted these people. That's what attracted these people to me. And that's what attracted me to these people. People, like-minded people, want to be around like-minded people, plain and simple. And another thing I'll throw in there is that high level people don't judge people about where they are. They judge people about where they're going. And if you're at a high level in any field, you can see the trajectory of somebody who's on the come up. I can go down to the calisthenics park and see some youngsters who's just getting started on their calisthenics journey. And if I see these guys coming to the park every day, they're clicking up, they're working on different skills, they're ambitious, they're working hard, they're consistent. I'm going to be attracted to train with these guys, even if they're not at my level. And I'm going to want to show them the ropes and give them a helping hand on anything they need a helping hand with, because I see what their mentality is and I see where they're trying to take it. They're on the same vibration as me, even though they might not be at the level that I'm at. And that's where I was at when I was in Brazil, Hawaii, Argentina. I was clicking up with a lot of people who were at a higher level than me, and they saw where my trajectory is at because of my consistency, because of my demeanor, because of the way that I carried myself. So you have to be in that mindset of discipline, gratitude, and growth. And those vibrations, that vibration is going to attract all types of success. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier about high vibration people are going to help you break through plateaus. So just like I said, I was in a plateau that I didn't even know that I was in when I was first started training with James. I was almost not, it was like training calisthenic skills like planche or front lever, or, even advanced levels of handstand push-ups was something that I was like blind to. Like it wasn't even something that was on my radar at the time. And I was pretty much just comfortable with doing regular handstand push-ups, muscle ups, pull-ups, and, maintaining a great physique when I was in Hawaii. But seeing people who were operating on a higher level and clicking up with people who are operating at a higher level pushed me through to get outside of my comfort zone and break through some of the plateaus that I was at. It's just like if you're going to the gym, maybe your goal is to deadlift 405 pounds, right? That's 4 plates. But then you start training with a cat who can deadlift 700 pounds and is the same size as you. You might not even thought that 700 pounds was even realistic because you've never seen anybody lift anything close to that type of weight. But once you see that person on that high vibration who is performing feats of strength that, you may have seen on the internet, but you never really thought that was really realistic, now it's become real for you. Now you can see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and maybe you want to go down that tunnel and you want to go down that path of complete mastery or complete pushing yourself to that next level. And once you see that, and once you kind of get that spark in your mind, you've already broken through that plateau mentally and you're already vibrating on a different frequency. So how do we change our vibration? How do we shift our energy to vibrate on a higher level? And once we start vibrating on a higher level, how do we keep that vibe high? I actually don't think that we can just keep our vibration at a certain place because, things are dynamic and the universe works in rhythms, and we kind of none of our progress is necessarily just linear. One of the other universal laws is the law of rhythm. So you have to be able to kind of ride those waves and ride those rhythms in order to kind of have success no matter what element or no matter what stage you are in on your journey. But with all that being said, here are some tools that I use to either raise my frequency or keep my frequency at a high level. Number one is to set emotionally charged goals. You can't just have a goal to have a goal. You have to have a goal because you feel something inside. There's literally going to be some type of internal pain if you're not where you want to be. For instance, let's just say, for instance, you have been like overweight your whole life and the summertime's coming up and you're just thinking to yourself, I'm not going another summer with a beer belly. You know what I mean? I want to get, if not a six pack, I need to have a flat stomach by the time summertime comes around. I'm not going to go to the beach and be embarrassed like I've been my entire life. That's an emotionally charged goal because it triggers something in your brain that hits that strikes a nerve, a painful nerve, and you have to have some type of emotion behind your goals. Now, a tool for keeping your vibration high is to practice gratitude. And what is gratitude when it comes down to fitness or whatever pursuit that we have in life? It's acknowledging our micro victories. I've talked about this on the channel plenty of times, but our micro victories are just the small little progress that we make on a day-to-day basis. Me and James used to talk about this on my channel and on our other channel, High Octane Calisthenics. And we would talk about how you want to just try to get 1% better every single day. And really 1% better is a crazy amount of progress to make every single day. It's actually an unrealistic amount of progress because then that means you're improving 365% per year. And you're getting 365% better every year, which is not really realistic. But even if it's 0.001% better every single day, acknowledge that. Acknowledge the fact that when you were training your front lever today, that you held it for a quarter of a second longer. Acknowledge the fact that you had one more pull-up today on your max pull-up reps than you did 3 weeks ago. Acknowledge the fact that when you went to do that Bulgarian split squat today, that your knees weren't shaking, that you were way more stable, that you were able to get more depth. So acknowledging these type of micro victories is going to help you stay motivated and keep you at a high vibration along your journey of mastery. So one thing that I haven't spoke about this video is the opposite end of the spectrum. And another way that we need to keep our energy at a high level, keep vibrating on a high level, is to make sure that we don't have the wrong people around us. Now, in this world, there's a plethora of people who are vibrating low and who are in a low mindset, a negative mindset, low vibration. And we need to just be strong enough to keep these people at an arm's length. I'm not saying necessarily that you have to X people out of your life completely. That's not necessarily always realistic. Sometimes it's family members, sometimes it's coworkers, whatever it may be. We have to be cordial and we have to learn how to have relationships with people who might not be vibrating at our level. But at the same time, we also need to learn how to keep these people at an arm's length so they don't affect our vibration. And sometimes that means making sure that you have quality time for yourself or quality time with people who are vibrating at a higher level. And preferably you'll have time for both. So another big thing when it comes down to vibration is our diet. And when I mean our diet, I'm not just talking about our food diet or our, what we drink and eat in protein shakes and all this other type of stuff. I actually mean our mental diet. One of the biggest things nowadays is social media and music and all types of content that we take in or entertainment that we take in. And we really have to be strict with ourselves to try to take in mostly high vibrational content, mostly high vibrational music. We all have our guilty pleasures. Sometimes when I'm at the gym or when I'm working out at the calisthenics park, I'll listen to some low vibration hip hop, or not even hip hop, rap music, whatever you want to call it. And, it kind of gives me a certain type of energy. Sometimes it puts me in a darker place that gets me to push a little bit harder. But on a regular basis, I should not be listening to that type of music. Also, when it comes down to the entertainment or the content that we take in, we have to realize that our mind is taking all this information in on a conscious level and on a subconscious level. So we are watching low vibrational content. Our mind is taking all that information in subconsciously and is believing all of that information and all that content subconsciously. So be careful about what you're looking at on TikTok. Be careful about what you're looking at on Instagram, YouTube, television, Netflix, whatever it may be. Try to keep most of your content high vibrational, informational, uplifting, growth mindset. Those things are going to keep your vibration high. At the end of the day, fitness is not just about lifting weights, it's about lifting your energy up to a higher frequency. As you raise your internal vibration, your body, environment, and your results will start to align with this new version of yourself. Transform within, and the world around you transforms to match. Now, if you guys are ready to level up your vibration and level up your training journey, you can go to my website and check out my 90-day hybrid athlete program. I guarantee you, if you follow this 90-day hybrid athlete program from start to finish, you will be at a higher level. You will be at a higher vibration physically, mentally, and spiritually. At the end of the day, calisthenics, fitness, physical exercise is spiritual. So you're going to level up in more ways than one. And when you level up physically, you'll start to believe you can level up in other ways as well. If you guys are just now getting started with your fitness journey, I actually have a free program, completely free, on my website. It's a 12-week pull-up program. So if you don't know how to do a pull-up, or if you're just getting started doing pull-ups and you want to get more proficient, I guarantee you, if you follow this 12-week program all the way through, you will master the pull-up and you will be ready to take your fitness to the next level. Anyways, if you guys have any examples of how you've raised your vibration in the past, or how the law of vibration has affected your training journey or your fitness journey, leave those examples in the comment section. Let's start a discussion. This is a community. This isn't just me talking at you. This is me talking with you guys. I hope everybody's having a great day out there. I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.